Hey everyone, happy Monday. Hope everyone had a good weekend, and here we are again. So it is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So again, not surprisingly, Mr. Rafa worked on this beauty today, and let's kind of go in sequential order of what he did here. So I mentioned before, these are very nice reproductions of Safari shafts for this bus, which means that you can basically disconnect the wipers from the mechanism that's under here, so that when you pop out the Safaris, which obviously aren't in here yet, that the wipers can swing out of the way. Anyway, the seals for these, I know of one place that makes them. They're not available right now. So Rafa painstakingly took some other seals, I think off maybe an oval window Beetle or something, and trimmed them to get them to work and look correct. So that sealed this part here. So that was part of the day, and then he went ahead and put in this other shaft itself, got it connected all to the mechanism, which is of course under here. So that was part of the day. And then he did start getting the front bumper ready to put on. There's still one or two more small things to do to it, and then it'll go on. We did paint it already. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that before. The white on it, and all the white on this bus was like super bright, just completely the wrong color white. In fact, you can see on these wheels here, which we haven't painted yet, it's pretty much pure white. No real off whiteness about it. And so we're correcting that with all the things on this bus that should be off-white, like the nose badge, and this thing needed body work, a little welding and stuff too. And but anyway, yeah, so the stripes on the bumper are now the correct color of white, and the front bumper at least will be going on probably tomorrow. Back bumper will be one of the last things to go on because it'll just be in the way until the motor goes in. The other thing he did was he put in the two rear pop-outs, and we do have to do some touch-up on this paint here, but he went ahead and installed these. It did have the seals on them, which were in okay shape, but they were installed backwards, so that's kind of weird, but he took them off and put them in correctly. And then the latches that we used, again, these are not actually Barndoor frames. Somebody makes adapters to put correct Barndoor latches on non-Barndoor frames, but good luck finding Barndoor latches, and then and good luck finding Barndoor frames. And so we use slightly later latches that are still pretty early and still look really good. Strictly speaking, not correct for a Barndoor, but maybe later we'll find some and we can swap these out for more correct looking ones for a Barndoor, but this is pretty much what we have at the moment. So, and they look good, so that's what we're going with for now. So let me see here what else Rafa did today. I think those were kind of the main things on this. He actually kind of shared his time today on this one, and then he spent like a few hours, I think, on the 69 bay window bus that's kind of in the middle of its paint job right now. So tidying up some details on that one back in the engine compartment and stuff like that for our painter. There was some extraneous bracket back there that we weren't going to use on that car that he got rid of. So stuff like that he spent on that car today. So me, today, I did a lot of errand running, which I know is not what you guys want to hear about because that's super boring. However, this little pile of parts here is pretty important because this is the inner and outer bearings to put the Porsche brakes on the front of the awesome Barndoor. So these are actually the same as the Porsche ones, which I bought a bunch of Porsche stuff for the Porsche ones. Turns out the inner ones are the same, so I could use those. The outer ones, I had to go to Orange County Bearing and basically give him the inner and outer dimensions I wanted, and boom, he pulled them right off the shelf. So now we've got the outer ones. And then I had my friend Todd, who happens to be a machinist, take some stock inner bearing spacers and cut them down to a 1/4 inch. So these are going to be work as spacers now that'll go on the spindles first, and then the stock spacers will go on against these, and that's what the bearing rides against those then, and the inner seals also ride against those. So this is pretty much just pushing everything outboard by a 1/4 inch. And then the other spacers that I need between the backing plate and the spindles, and then on the threaded end of the spindles, those I was able to find stuff that'll work from McMaster, so that stuff is all coming tomorrow. And then the last piece of the puzzle for putting the brakes on the front of that bus is finding the front oil, or excuse me, the front grease seals, which supposedly fit a Toyota Tercel or a Suzuki Samurai. So I got to go to auto parts store and see if they have anything that meets that description. So anyway, yeah, very small pile of parts, but lots of time going into that. And again, researching the spacers and stuff like that. And hopefully this stuff will all come together maybe tomorrow, the front brakes on that car. So that's kind of cool. So other than running errands, I worked on this guy a bit. And as you saw, big deal here, the deck lid is on. So deck lid's on. The Pope's nose, which again is one of the greatest names of any VW part. That's the Pope's nose. You can see why it's called a nose. I don't know why a Pope would have a shaped nose like that more than anyone else, but that's what it's called commonly. And yeah, wired it up. It works great. So this again has two functions. So you can see that red lens in there. That is actually the stock brake light and the only brake light that these had. And then if you look, I don't know if you'll be able to see it if this will focus. Anyway, probably I'll have to take my word. But over on this end is a bulb that is the illumination for the license plate light. So that one shines more or less like down like this. And then the brake light is kind of shining backwards. So from the back of these things, when you put the brakes on, that's your brake light. Remember, these when they were stock, these two were only tail lights. Like the only function these had is when you turned your headlights on, they would illuminate dimly so somebody didn't rear end you. And this was the only brake light. Whoever wired this car at some point added some extra wires and some 2-filament bulb holders. So these two lights now also function as brake lights. And then he has an accessory brake light here that's also hooked up and works. So this car has 4 brake lights now. So I don't think anyone will not notice when this guy goes to stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, so yeah, all that's hooked up. All that's working now. We did have to wrestle his hinges a bit to get it to line up, which is kind of weird because it was installed on the car. It must have just been lined up terribly or something, because we couldn't even get it. You know, you've got slots on all these mounting points here, and then under there and under there. We slid these things all over the place, and it was just not happening. Finally, we had to kind of bend this mount some, and then the gap is actually really good now. So, yeah, one of those things you think is going to be a 10-15 minute job ends up being, you know, half an hour plus pretty easily by the time you kind of play with it and get in there and manhandle it a little bit. But anyway, closes great now. The other thing that I did on this car today is I got it to start. So if you follow the channel, you know that I ran his motor on the test stand, got it all running, and even, you know, tuned it a little bit, so to speak. And then we installed it in the car. It hadn't been started yet since I put it in the car. Actually, that's not true. I poured gas in it and kind of like popped it off for a couple seconds last week. But this is the first time that I actually got it like started and running in the car. I'll post up a short video of going through the process of starting this car later. I'm not going to start it right now because the shop is closed and it does smoke a bit when you start it up. So I don't want to smell that right now. But anyway, yeah, it starts now. It's got gas in the tank that it's actually drawing gas from, all that good stuff, like a real car. The other thing I did today was adjusted his clutch up underneath there. So that's all good to go. Fiddled with his shifter a bit more and got it to where, at least without the car moving, it feels as good as I think it's going to. Sometimes you have to drive them to make sure all the gears are working, but I think they're working now. Anyway, we'll find out. But that was pretty much it for this one. So I don't know, we'll see. I may put some wheels on the back of this thing tomorrow and take it for a little spin. We'll see. Stay tuned. The other thing that happened today is Jacob continued to work on the 74 Beetle. Let's go outside here real quick. All right, so here we are. I don't know if I've shown this car since we started stripping it, or actually since Jacob started stripping it. He's been pretty much doing the whole thing, but yeah, engine's out, transmission's out, rear axles, heater tubes, pretty much all the insulation and stuff back here, bumpers. The interior, he pretty much gutted it. The seats are just sitting in there now, but you can see all the panels are out, carpet's out, dash pad is still in. We need to pull that out, but yeah, he pretty much just got in here and went crazy and took everything out, documented things like little details of the stitches and stuff so we can recreate all that. This car is super solid. The floor is amazing on this car. Even under the battery, there's like a lot of surface rust, but I think it's fine. It's just a very solid dry car. It's everywhere you look. The only place that I've really seen that's going to need some rust removal are these two areas here. We'll see when we get those rusty areas down to bare metal if those need to be cut out or what's going on with those. But yeah, other than that, it just pretty much has some dents and dings from being a car of its age. Let's see, so pretty major-ish dent there, and another one here, and then this one, which I don't know what happened there. Looks like it was pretty brutal. Whatever happened, it like scratched it and dented it pretty deep. So who knows? I'll have to ask the owner sometime if he knows what happened there. But yeah, Jacob's been doing a great job of pulling this thing apart and boxing everything up here, and we'll be putting all this stuff inside of our container over there pretty soon for storage until we need it. But let me pause this for a sec. So there you go, guys. That is it for today. We do have another new project coming in on Wednesday, just as a teaser. Not going to tell you right now what that is, so stay tuned. And on the or excuse me, did I say Tuesday? It's coming in on Wednesday. So I guess, yeah, look for the episode on Wednesday. I'll show what we got coming in. So in the meantime, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.